the stage because leadership is from the top. I'm up here on the 3rd floor. Everybody up on the 3rd floor, make some noise! Here's what we're gonna do. It's a competition between all the floors. Everybody on the 3rd floor, look down at the people below you and say, ha ha, I'm taller than you. Now I'm on the 2nd floor. Everybody on the 2nd floor, what's up? Make some noise! Yeah! Everybody do this. If you're on the 2nd floor, say, I am great. I am amazing. And the 2nd floor is the best. Everybody on the ground floor, there's more of you there than anywhere else. If you're on the ground floor, make some noise! Guys up top, what do you think of that? Who's better? Who's louder? My name is John Beatty. I'm 27 years old, and I'm a rock climber from Las Vegas. I want to start today by asking you guys 3 questions. Question number 1, and I need an enthusiastic Georgia response to each one of these questions. How many of you guys would like to leave here today with more money in your wallet, pocket, or purse than you came in? Put up your right hand and say, oh yeah! Question number 2, how many of you guys would like to leave here today better looking, more attractive, and more sexy than when you came in? Put up your left hand and say, oh yeah! This guy's like, heck yeah. Question number 3, how many of you guys would like to have a good time between now and when we're done in about 30 minutes with my speech? Put up both hands and say, that's me! Then everybody say, good news! The good news is that you're in the right place at the right time, because I am just like you. In my life, I want to have more fun, more success, and great relationships while I'm doing it. Everybody do this. Tap the person's shoulder on the right side next to you and say, you lucky to be sitting next to me. Tap the person's shoulder on the other side and say, no, you lucky to be sitting next to me. Everybody please clap once. Clap twice. The truth of the matter is that I am lucky to be standing in front of all of you. Not only because you guys are incredible and cool people, but because there was a time in my life when I'm convinced I'm about to die. My fingertips are all chapped and cracked, covered in blood. My arms are twitching from lactic acid buildup. This bead of sweat forms on my forehead, dribbles down to my nose, hangs there for just a moment. Then it falls and falls and falls. 250 feet to the ground below me. I'm rock climbing in central Washington State. The only thing stopping my whole body from slamming into the granite rocks below me is 250 feet of nothing. And if you were there, you'd see that I have a harness, and it's tied to my climbing partner, Greg. He's about from me to, what is your name right here? On the end? Amber? He's about from me to Amber. So I'm tied to Amber or Greg. Amber or Greg is tied to me, but he or she is not tied to anything else. So if I fall, who falls as well? Amber or Greg or Gregamber or whatever you want to call her, right? About 2 minutes earlier, we're sitting on a ledge, and it's about the size of one of the seats that you're in right now, and we're mashed up against each other like this. And I say, Greg, look, the first bolt is right there. If I can get to that, we'll be fine. He says, no, you got to put in some gear, some protection here in case something goes wrong. You'll be okay. I say, don't worry about it. We've been climbing all day, no problem. And I started to traverse out. And at first, it was easy, just like I thought it would be. But then the rock got steeper and steeper and sharper and sharper. It gets to a spot where it's so sharp that the rubber on my shoes is being cut off and falling to the ground below me. That's why my fingertips are all covered in blood. And I get to a spot that's bare. It's bald as Mr. Clean's head. There is nowhere to go. And I look over to Greg and I go, Greg, I'm gonna fall. And he goes, don't. I go, I can't help it, I'm gonna go. And he says 2 words that would change my life. In fact, they ended up becoming the title of the very first book that I ever wrote. He looks me square in the eye and he says, John, climb on. And those 2 words, climb on, they may never save your life, but they can make it a whole lot better. Because today I'm going to show you how you can get anything that you want out of your life. If that sounds good to you, like to learn how you can get anything that you want, tap the person's shoulder in front of you and say, ooh, I want that. turn around and say to the person behind you, yeah, me too. In fact, if you take everything that I'm going to show you today, you put it to use, and if it does not work for you, I will give you $100 cash. Now, is that a deal or is that a deal? Everybody say, that's a deal. That is a deal. That's a good deal. Then I need 2 volunteers to come up and help me on stage to get things started. One is right here. I need a guy as well. How about, yeah, right there, waving your arms in the vest. Give these guys a round of applause as they come up. Now, before this whole event started, I had a whole bunch of you write down your favorite movie quotes on these note cards right here. If you didn't write down a movie quote, don't worry about it. Just know that there's movie quotes, lines from movies written on these cards. Now, I need to make sure that you guys in the audience can hear both of these volunteers here. So I'm going to ask their name. If you can hear their name, please just clap once, okay? What is your name?
Michaela Clymer.
Clymer. I love the last name, Michaela. And what is your name?
Karinsky Wilkerson.
Kerensky, okay. Michaela, we're going to pretend, is my daughter, okay? Karinsky, you dog, you. Karinsky, we're going to pretend, has a crush on Michaela. Everybody go, aww. So what's going to happen, Karinsky is going to come over to Michaela and my house, and he's going to try and ask her out on a date through me, the father. But the catch is the only words that they're allowed to say while they're up here, the only sentences they're allowed to speak in are the movie quotes that all of you guys wrote down. So I'm going to shuffle this up. Now, Karinsky, it's not your job to try and make this make sense, okay? And Michaela, just go one by one through the cards, okay? So, Karinsky, could you just take a few steps back for me? We're going to be over in our house. Karinsky, whenever you're ready, come on over, knock on the door, and we'll see how this turns out. Karinsky, whenever you're ready, come on over. Oh, hey, you must be Karinsky.
Yes, sir. Hello, I'm San Diego. I'm Run. I don't know what that is. Tina, you fat lord, come get your dinner.
That's an interesting way to start off the conversation with the girl's father, I have to say. Michaela, I don't really know what to make of this guy right here, so why don't you tell me a little bit about him?
We thought you was a toad.
You thought I was a toad or you thought he was a toad? I don't quite understand. I need to find out about this guy right here and whether I should let you go on a date with him. So tell me, when you first saw him, what was the first thought that went through your mind?
Come and say hello to my little fridge.
So, Karinsky, it's obvious that she likes you, I think. Karinsky, I love my daughter very much. What is your favorite quality about my daughter?
You had me like, hello.
That's very romantic. Okay, well then, Karinsky, I need to know what you guys are going to do today, you know, what the plan is for the night. So what is the plan? What is the date going to consist of?
I'll make you a silky smoothie.
You guys are going to go out for smoothies. Okay, I can appreciate that. Michaela, what would your ideal date be? What would you most want to do on a date?
I see dead people.
I think we're going to have to get you checked out then. That's a little bit strange. You know what? There's only one thing that's really important to me. And, Karinsky, I really love my daughter here. Would you ever put the moves on a girl on the first date?
Get her done.
So, clearly I can't trust Karinsky. So I'm going to have to ask you, Michaela, if he tries to kiss you tonight, what will be your response?
Die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
I don't know what that meant, but it's creepy enough to let you go on the date. So, Michaela, would you do me a favor? Stand over here next to Kerensky for me. I'm just going to take their picture, and whenever I have my picture taken, I always say cheese. What do you say when you have your picture taken?
Hamburger good, burger can I take your order?
Kerensky, how about you? What do you say when you have your picture taken?
Run, Forrest, run.
Okay, how about you guys both look at the camera and say, run, Forrest, run on 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Run, Forrest, run.
That was a good one. Anything else before you go, Michaela?
If you're not first or last.
And how about you?
I don't know.
You know what? Just give them both a round of applause. That's awesome. Hold on, guys. And in order to thank them both for coming up, I'm going to give them each a copy of my book. It's called Climb On, Success Strategies for Teens. There you go, Michaela. Thank you very much. You can put them on the table there. And give them another round of applause. I was like, that couldn't have been planned better. That was amazing. Now, that was just a goofy little game I like to play to get things started. But you could kind of see that when they were up here, they were a little bit frustrated because they had that movie quote telling them what to do, what to say, how to act every second that they were up here. What if your whole life was like that? And it was a script, and you had somebody telling you what to do, what to say, how to act every minute of your life? You'd be pretty frustrated. So it's my job here today to teach you how to make your own life into your own adventure, how to live out your own majestic journey that's in store for you. And you know what else I like about the movies? I like that guy in the previews with that super deep voice he's got. You know that guy? He's like, from the people that brought you Titanic. You know that guy? Like, no matter what he's talking about, he's always going to use the movie voice. Like, Barney meets the Teletubbies. You know this guy? Could you see him like going through puberty? This voice cracking and everything. He's going up to girls like, hey baby, how you doing? Excuse me. It's just that I think you're real cute. I was hoping one day we could go out on a date. Cause that would make me happy. And then after his voice cracks, he can't do anything else. He couldn't be a farmer. The cows would think that he is one of them, like, move, Betsy, move. Cow's like, what the heck's going on? He couldn't be a taxi cab driver. That'd just freak you out. You get in the taxi with him and he's like, hey. Where am I taking you today? You'd be like, I'm gonna catch the next cab. What if he was a teacher at your school? Comes up to you and he's like, nice job, Bobby. Have some candy. You'd be like, I'm gonna transfer schools, this is weird. You see, we go to the movies because we see these people on the screen that have action, adventure, romance, comedy in their lives, and these are the exact same things that we want for ourselves. It's like it's written into our souls that each moment is supposed to have an incredible new adventure, and each second has an amazing surprise. For me, that's why I go rock climbing, because it's my personal life adventure. But what I really care about is that you find your own adventure for your life, and you go live that. And you know, anywhere in the country that I travel to, it always happens. The ladies always want to make some noise, so now's your opportunity, your chance. Go ahead, ladies, where are you at? Make some noise. There's a lot of you. Ladies, would you like a secret? Would you like a secret about men, about guys? She's like, no, why would I care? Here it is. Guys, raise your hand. How many guys here play video games like World of Warcraft? Any like Tony Hawk? Any Counter-Strike players? Here's the secret then about us men. When we've got that controller, the paddle, we're not just watching the Master Chief blow up the Covenant armies. Oh no. For us, it's so much bigger than the graphics or the sound, because when we've got that controller, we are the Master Chief. That's us living out the adventure that we see on the screen. Wouldn't that be cool, though, if you were in a video game? Like if you were Mario and you could just jump on somebody and they disappear? That'd be the best. Your teacher comes in, she's like, class, you got a test coming up this Thursday. You'd be like, oh yeah? Test that, ha-ha! Where'd you go? Your mom comes in, she's like, honey, it's time to pick up your clothes, don't you think? Don't make me jump on you, woman. See, us guys play video games because that's us living out the adventure that's written into our hearts. Guys, would you like a secret about women? Here it is. Gentlemen, if you want to impress a woman, remember this name. Remember the name Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy. Why? Because two countries, the most powerful countries in the world at the time, went to battle for her. No, I'm not saying go take over Canada. I'm not saying go get in a fight. I'm saying give her that level of respect and determination and the idea that you will do anything for her. And then you'll be okay with the ladies. And girls, if he doesn't give you that level of respect, you drop him like a 2-week-old dirty diaper, you know what I'm saying? That's weird when it's that big. You see, men and women both, we want our life to be an incredible adventure. And so I've created what I like to call the Climb On Success Formula. And it's something that's easy, that anybody can put to use. Because I believe that life is very difficult. If you agree with that, say yes. And I believe life can be very confusing. If you agree with that, say yeah. And I believe life can be very complicated. If you agree with that, say heck yeah. So if life is difficult and confusing and complicated, then what we need is a solution that's easy, that anybody can put to use. If that makes sense to you, say climb on. So I'm going to give you guys right now the Climb On Success Formula. The first part of it, I just want you to whisper real low. It's this. Pick a summit. Whisper it with me on 3. Pick a summit. 1, 2, 3. Pick a summit. So the first thing that I do when I go out rock climbing is I see this mountain range in front of me. I pick one peak, one summit to get to the top of. It sounds basic, but it's profound because so few people in the world have any idea where they're going, what their plan is to make it happen, or how they're going to get there. To show you guys what I mean by this, I need everybody, please show me both of your hands. Hold up both of your palms so I can see them real high. Perfect. Now, did you know that one of your hands is longer than the other one? It's true. You can find out because underneath each one of your palms, you have a line that goes straight across. Everybody nod your head yes if you see that line that goes straight across. Good. What you're going to do is take both of those lines, line them up perfectly so that you make a fan shape just like this. Everybody, make that fan shape and hold it up real high so I can see it. Perfect. Now, making sure those lines are lined up perfectly, roll those hands together, stretch them out, and you'll see that one of your hands is just barely longer than the other one. Now do this. Everyone, show me the shorter of your two hands, your shorter hand. We're gonna give this hand a goal right now. We're gonna make this hand grow. Everybody do this. Look at your hand square in the eye and say this at your hand. Hand. Say it like you mean it. Hand. Get bigger. You are now gigantic. You are bigger than my other hand. I can feel you enormous. You mammoth hand, you. Now watch this. Take that hand, line those two lines up again. Make that fan shape, roll your hands together, and look at how that hand grew. Isn't that weird? Now, this does not work for any other body parts. I'm just gonna Oh, you guys are sick. Talking about like arms or ears. What you just did was give your hand a very simple goal. You said, I'm gonna make my hand get bigger. But it works for so much more than just silly little tricks like that. The first time that I learned the power of picking a summit was my very first day of college. My professor walks in. He's kind of a timid guy. Sets his briefcase down. He says, class, your assignment for the next week is to write out 100 goals for your life. I'm like, what, 100 goals? If you do not do this assignment, you will flunk my class. Guess I have to do it. So I was just a little punk kid. I pull out the notepad and pen. Number 1, finish this assignment. Number 2, get to number 3. But the more I started goofing off with it, the more I realized I couldn't fudge the whole assignment. So I started writing down real goals for myself, real goals for my life. I wrote down goals like graduate from college with honors, write a book by the time I turn 20, visit every continent on the planet. In fact, climb to the tallest mountain, the tallest peak of every continent on the planet. I wrote down goals like become fluent in Spanish and in Mandarin Chinese. I wrote down goals like ride elephants in Thailand, snowboard through a flock of penguins in Antarctica, wrestle a giant carp in Cambodia, give away $1 million to charity over the course of my lifetime. To date, I've finished 40 of them, and I can guarantee you that by the day I die, all 100 crossed off the list. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that means a lot to me that you guys applaud for that. But what's truly magnificent is if you do the same thing for yourself. You come up with your own list of 25, 50, 100 goals, summits for your life, and you make your whole objective about achieving those things. And when you do this, does anybody here know how to make a flea circus? Awesome. A flea circus. Here's how it's done. A little flea, a bug that's no bigger than a button on your cell phone, can jump off the ground 20 to 30 feet straight up into the air. So to make a flea circus, you take a whole bunch of these bugs, put them in a jar, take a piece of cardboard, cover the jar. Well, now these dumb, idiot, moron fleas are like at the bottom of the jar, and they leap up with this 20 or 30-foot force jump, slam their heads into the cardboard, and they fall back down. So they do it again. Bottom of the jar. Leap up, slam their heads, and fall back down. They do this over and over and over again until sooner or later, the flea starts to associate or connect pain with jumping high. So you take those fleas, dump them out of the jar. For the rest of their lives, those fleas will only jump however high that piece of cardboard was set. And before you look at the flea and you're like, stupid flea. Think about how it applies to you and I. Because do you remember when you were a kid really little and anything was possible? It's like one day you're going to be an incredible football star. The next day you're going to be a NASA space astronaut. Then you're going to have this amazing family. The day after that you're going to be a professional author. Whatever the case may be, somewhere along the course of our lives, we stop dreaming like that. Because somebody came along and they put a proverbial piece of cardboard over the jar of our life. They told us, no, you're not from the right background. You're not from the right race or religion. Your family doesn't have enough money. You're not smart enough. Whatever the case may be, we stopped dreaming like we did when we were kids. My challenge to you is to pretend like no one has ever told you no when you come up with these 25, 50, or 100 summits for your life. If you'll do that, say, oh yeah! Cool, then the second part of the Climb On Success formula, I want you guys to yell out as loud as you can so that cars driving down the street out front are like, whoa, what the heck was that? It's this, gear up. Gear up on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. Gear up! Awesome energy, sweet. So, in order to show you guys what I mean by this, I need everybody to stand up right where you're at. Once you've stood up, everybody please put both hands up in the air, just like this. Go up on your tippy toes, stretch out for a second, say, ooh, that feels good. Once you've stretched out, go down off your tippy toes, take your left hand, put your left hand down, take your right hand, point your right hand straight forward, just like this. Now do not do it yet. Wait until I tell you what to do. You're going to take that right hand, keep your feet totally planted, spin to the right, you're going to miss your neighbor's head, keep spinning around, and then you're going to get a visual spot on the wall of the furthest around point you can possibly spin to. So it might be on the wall, it might be on somebody else's head. Here we go, everybody together. Put that hand forward. Put that hand forward. Spin on 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Get that visual spot of your furthest around spot. Great, now everybody come back to me, come back to me. Take that right hand, point it straight down at the ground. Everybody please close your eyes. Imagine this. Do not physically do it, but imagine yourself lifting your hand up just like you did. Imagine yourself spinning around in that circle, only this time you feel loose, you're limber, you're all stretched out, your body feels good. You smack your neighbor in the jaw. No, just kidding. Miss your neighbor's head. You continue spinning around. Only this time, because of how stretched out and loose and good you feel, you go 6 inches past that spot. A foot past that spot. 1.5 feet right past that spot. Everybody see that? Say yes. Yes. Everybody please open up your eyes. Lift that hand up. Spin around in the circle and look at how much further you can go this time because you made that plan. Once you've done that, give yourselves a round of applause and take a seat. Everybody please clap once, clap twice, clap 3 times. What you just did when you spun around the second time was you had a plan. That's what gear up means, is to create a plan for yourself and your life. When I go out rock climbing, I have a harness, and my harness that I put the gear on to gear up is my plan to get up my mountain. I'm gonna give you guys 2 quick tips for making a plan for anything in your life. In order to do this, I need everybody to put a 1 up in the air and go, tip number 1, okay? Here we go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to make sure that your goals are actually yours. What I mean by this, I was in an airplane, flying a plane, and I realized I was training for my private pilot's license. And I said, this isn't what I want for my life. This is what my dad and my grandpa want for my life because they were pilots before me. Make sure that your goals are actually yours. Everybody put up a 2 and go, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to make sure that your goals are actually good. Here's how I like to describe this. It's how you hunt wolves in the tundra. Here's how it's done. You take a knife, a double-bladed knife, and dip it in seal blood, the blood of a seal. Take that knife out, freeze that layer of blood around the knife. Dip it in the blood again, pull it out, freeze a second layer around the knife. You keep doing this over and over again until basically you have a popsicle, except the stick is a double-bladed knife. So you take the handle, put it in the snow, and back off. Well, to wolves, seal blood, this is like their steak and potatoes. It's their pizza. They love it. So the wolf comes by, gives it a lick. The warmth from the wolf's mouth melts that first layer of blood. So he gives it another lick. Sooner or later, the wolf gets to that double-bladed knife. Only funny thing happens. He gets more excited by the taste of his own blood and eventually licks until he bleeds to death. Some of you guys are like, oh, that's horrible. And some of you guys are like, oh, that's awesome. Either way, don't miss the message. Because there's people that you know, probably people in this room, maybe even you yourself, doing the exact same thing. I'm not saying you're going home and open up your drawers and licking all your knives, no. Think about what the wolf is doing. The wolf is focusing so much on the pleasure that he's getting out of that situation that he completely ignores the pain and the destruction that he's causing to himself. You don't have to raise your hands, but how many of you know somebody that's so caught up in drugs or alcohol abuse or anorexia or violence or gangs, whatever the case may be, they're destroying themselves because they're focusing so much on that pleasure and ignoring the destruction. Don't be like the wolf. Now think about this. If you know where you're going, you've picked your summits, you've geared up, you have a plan to get there, what's left? Do it. Go take action. That's where the real juice of life is. There was something that happened to me when I was in Colorado and I was struck by lightning. I'd like to tell you guys that story right now. So I'm going to take this whole audience, and no longer are we going to be in the Classic Center here. If we can get some house lights too, that'd be awesome. We're going to be on top of a mountain called Mount Columbia in Colorado. And you guys on the top 2 floors, I'll be back with you in a second. But I'm with a student of mine. His name is Jason, and we're on top of this mountain. He has a case of what's called altitude sickness. And in case you don't know, altitude sickness is when your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, so it starts to swell up. Well, the problem when your brain swells up is that you have a skull in the way, and it causes all sorts of funky things to happen. We're trying to get down, lightning strikes. I start counting the seconds to see how far away the lightning is. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. It's about half a mile away. All Jason is doing is walking back and forth and moaning. He's just doing this. I'm like, Jason, you gotta move. He's like, I am. That's all. Lightning strikes again. 1 1,000, 2 1,000. It's getting closer. To give you an idea of what altitude sickness does, my friend Tyson had a case of it, and he hallucinated. He saw a school bus full of monsters driving vertically up a cliff. It messes with your head. There's been famous climbers in the world, and say there's a cliff right here, they'll say to their climbing buddies, hey guys, look, there's a rainbow bridge that takes us all the way down to the ground. They just walk off the cliff. Jason has a mild case of this. Lightning strikes again. 1 1,000. Biggest one yet. I'm like, I have to do whatever it takes to get Jason down the mountain. So I kick Jason. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm like, sweet, at least he's going. I'm like, go Jason, go dude, you gotta move. And he's like, I'm like, whatever, at least he's going. I get him like 100, 200 feet in front of me. I'm still running after him. I'm like, go Jason, go dude, you gotta move, man, hurry. And the only way I can describe it is these purple bubbles started popping everywhere, huge, like Rice Krispies on heroin, going nuts all over the place. I'm in the middle of a step on my right foot. Lightning goes into the ground about 20 feet away from me, surges through the ground, into my rubber boot, through my rubber boot, into my leg, instantly sears all the hair right off my leg, knocks me off onto my other foot. Well, I'm still just thinking, get to Jason, help Jason. So now I'm like, go Jason, go dude, move man, you gotta hurry, go. I catch up to Jason, and I'm like, Jason, you okay, man? Did you get hit by lightning? What happened? He's like, I go, did you get hit? Uh-huh. Okay, tell me the story. What happened? He's like, you were like, and I was like, Then all of a sudden, the hair on my arm sort of stood up. Like, that's it? Your hair stood up? See, all he got was a static electricity charge. Just like if you took a balloon, rubbed it on your hair. Me, I got my whole leg fried because I didn't stick to one thing. And that's a time requirement. I told the whole group, I don't care where you are, but if at noon you're not on top of the mountain, we're turning around and we're going back. Well, noon comes along. It's only Jason and I who are on top of this mountain. Look up. It's blue skies. Beautiful. Let's just wait for everybody else to get up. We spent another hour, hour and a half on top of this mountain waiting for the rest of the 12 or 13 people that were with our group to get to the top. They were able to get back and go straight back down, but because Jason and I spent all that time up at the high altitude, we were the last ones, and he couldn't move. He got altitude sickness. Completely my fault. So I started asking myself, how can I be sure that something like that never happens again, and that I get what the actual objective is that I'm going for in life? And I came up with this formula. Call it John's formula. It's this. Drive plus skills plus time equals success. If you have the drive, the absolute ferocity to go after whatever it is that you're going for, that no one can tell you no, that's the first part. Then if you have the right skill set, you train, you type until your fingers bleed, you learn every skill there is in that subject. And finally, you give yourself a deadline, a time requirement of when you absolutely reach your goal. You'll succeed. Is that something you guys can use for your own selves and your own life? Say, heck yeah! Great, then we need to shift gears real quick, and we already recognized them when they all stood up, but as a speaker, the best compliment that I can give or receive is a standing ovation. And the people that really make this whole event possible are your advisors and the ones that, or the adult that brought you here. So do this. Let's give them the craziest, wildest standing ovation you've ever given in your life. 1, 2, 3, go! Nice. Genuinely do thank them in person because they make everything that you do in FBLA possible. The next thing, I absolutely love what I do. And I wrote a book and it's called Climb On, Success Strategies for Teens. And it's a story of a girl that learns how to rock climb in Las Vegas. Would anybody like a free copy of this book? Whoever can show me they're most excited to get this free copy will get this free copy. Oh, would anybody else like a copy of the book? That's awesome. They'll be for sale in the back. Here's the deal. They retail for $15. If you guys like, I'll give you a copy of the book for $10. Is that a deal or is that a deal? I didn't quite get that's enough, that's a deal, so here's what I'll do. If you team up with 2 other people, so there's 3 of you, I'm impressed by the effort, but not quite there. If you team up with 2 other people, or if you're an advisor and you'd like to get some copies for your students, I'll give you guys 3 of them for $20. Is that a deal or is that a deal? Cool. I'd be happy to sign them, and I'll take any pictures with anybody you like. I'll stay here till midnight taking pictures if you like. Now listen, I didn't finish that story from the very beginning. When I'm hanging there, convinced I'm about to die. My fingertips are all still covered in blood. There's a move in the climbing world called a dyno. And in case you don't know, a dyno is when you literally throw yourself up off the cliff, come completely off the rock, fly through the air, and using whatever you can, you grab on. It's extremely dangerous, but it's a good way to get an extra 2 or 3 feet. And I knew that was what I needed to do. So I started countdown. 3, life or death decision for 2 people. 2, hope this works out. 1, with every bit of force and effort I could possibly muster up, I launch myself up off that cliff. I'm flying through the air. Take my hand, stick it on the rock like the jaws of a Burmese tiger. Take a clip off my harness, send it through the bolt, take my rope right through the clip. And I was safe. I made it. I lived out my adventure for that day. But like I said, what I truly care about is that you find your own adventure for your own life. So pick your summits, gear up, and climb on. Thanks a lot, everybody. I truly appreciate you and your time. Thank you very much.
Who's been struck by lightning, attacked by a 5-foot iguana, been caught in a negative 40-degree blizzard, and he did once played the hokey pokey in the eye of a hurricane. John's true stories have been featured on television, radio, and websites across the globe. You're about to meet a man that believes that life is meant to be an adventure. You could say an anything but ordinary adventure. His message tonight is based on the success strategies in his great new book, Climb On, Success Strategies for Teens. He has explored the world, including Arizona, and as you'll soon see, he's anything but ordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the climber guy, John Beatty.
Hello, my name is John Beatty. I'm 26 years old and I'm a rock climber from Las Vegas. I want to start today by asking you guys 3 questions. Question number 1, how many of you guys would like to leave here today with more money in your wallet, pocket, or purse when you came in? Put up your right hand and say, climb on! Question number 2, how many of you guys would like to leave here today better looking, more attractive, and more sexy than when you came in? Put up your left hand and say, climb on! Question number 3, how many of you guys would like to have a good time between now and when we're done? In just a short amount of time, everybody put up both hands and say, climb on! And everybody say, good news! The good news is that you're in the right place at the right time, because today I'm going to show you how you can have a whole lot of fun, great success, and great relationships in your entire life. Everybody do this. Tap the person's shoulder on the right side next to you and say, you lucky to be sitting next to me. Tap the person's shoulder on the other side and say, no, you lucky to be sitting next to me. Everybody please clap once. Clap twice. The truth of the matter is that I am lucky to be standing in front of all of you. Not only because I know that you guys are cool people, but because there was a time in my life when I'm convinced I'm about to die. My fingertips are all chapped and cracked and covered in blood. My arms are twitching from lactic acid buildup. This bead of sweat forms on my forehead, dribbles down to my nose, hangs there for just a second, then it falls and falls and falls 250 feet to the ground below me. I'm rock climbing in central Washington State, and the only thing stopping me, my whole body, from slamming into the granite rocks below me is 250 feet of air. And if you were there, you'd see that I have a harness, and it's tied to my climbing partner, Greg. He's about from me to, what is your name right here? Yeah. Valerie? Valerie's about from me to Valerie. So I'm tied to Greg or Valerie, and Valerie or Greg is tied to me, but Greg's not tied to anything else. So if I fall, who falls as well? Greg or Valerie or whatever you want to call her, right? And about 2 minutes earlier, we're both sitting on a ledge. It's about the size of one of the chairs that you're in right now, and we're matched up against each other like this. And I say to him, I'm like, Greg, just let me climb out to that first bolt. If I can get to that, we'll be fine. He says, no, you got to put in some gear, some protection here in case something goes wrong. You'll be okay. I say, don't worry about it. We've been climbing all day. It's not a problem. And I started to traverse out without his permission. And at first, the climb was easy. But then it got steeper and steeper and sharper and sharper. And it gets to a spot where the rubber on my shoes is being cut off and falling to the ground below me. That's why my fingertips are all covered in blood. And I get to a spot that's bare. It's bald as Mr. Clean's head. There is nowhere to go. And I look over to Greg and I go, Greg, I'm gonna fall. He goes, don't. I go, I can't help it, I'm gonna go. And he says 2 words that would change my life. In fact, they ended up becoming the title of the very first book that I ever wrote. He looks me square in the eye and he says, John, climb on. And those 2 words, climb on, they may never save your life, but they can make it a whole lot better. Because today I'm going to show you how you can get anything that you want out of your life. If that sounds good to you, you'd like to learn how you can get anything you want, let me hear you say, hoo-ha! Hoo-ha! Come on, put some power on it, hoo-ha! Hoo-ha! That's what I'm talking about. In your grades, your sports, relationships, in FBLA, PBL, I'm going to show you how you can get anything that you want. If that sounds good to you, tap the person in front of you and say, ooh, I want that. Now turn around and say to the person behind you, yeah, me too. In fact, if you take everything I'm going to show you today, you put it to use, and if it does not work for you, I'll give you $100 cash. Now, is that a deal or is that a deal? Everybody say, that's a deal. That is a good deal. Then I need 2 volunteers to come up on stage to help me out. I need a guy and a girl. They're going to come up. How about this guy in the black right here? Yeah. I need a girl as well. I need a girl. How about right there in the white black coat around you? Yeah, right there. All right, give these guys a round of applause as they come up. All right, now I need to make sure that you guys in the audience can hear them. So I'm going to ask their name. Once they say their name, if you can hear them, do me a favor, just clap once, okay? What is your name? Sam. We've got Sam. Would you come stand over here for me? Same thing, I'm going to ask your name. If you guys in the audience can hear, just clap once. What is your name?
Talana.
All right, we've got Sam and Talana. Now what's going to happen? Before a bunch of you came in, I had a whole bunch of you write down your favorite movie quotes on these note cards right here. If you didn't write down your favorite movie quote, don't worry about it. Just know that there's a bunch of movie quotes on these cards right here. So, what's going to happen is, what's your name? Talana, that's right, it was a weird one. Talana, we're going to pretend. It's a good name. Talana, we're going to pretend, is my daughter, okay? Sam. Sam, you dog, you. Sam, we're going to say, has a crush on Talana, okay? Everybody go, aww. So what's going to happen? Sam is going to come over to Talana and my house, and he's going to try and ask her out on a date through me. Except that the catch is the only words that both of them are allowed to say while they're up here. The only sentences they're allowed to speak in are the movie quotes that you guys wrote down on these note cards. So I'm going to take this whole stack from here, I'm going to shuffle them up so they're in no particular order. I'm going to give half the stack there to Sam. I'm going to give half the stack to Talana. And Sam, you don't need to try and make these make sense, okay? Just take a few steps back over here. And Talana, you don't have to, go through, you can just go one by one in order, okay? So Sam, whenever you're ready, come on over, knock on the door, and we'll see how this turns out. Oh, hey, you must be Sam.
Show me the money.
That's an interesting way to start off a conversation with the girl's father, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. It ain't over till it's over.
All right, Talana, I don't know anything about this guy here, so why don't you tell me, what is your favorite quality about Sam?
Tina, you fat lard, come get your dinner.
Oh, so she wants to go out to dinner with you, I guess. All right. So, I love my daughter here very much. When you first saw her, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
This is Sparta.
Guy with some strength, I appreciate that. Valor, yeah. All right, you can come on in, by the way, Sam. You can come on in. So, Talana, I don't know anything about this guy here, so why don't you tell me a little bit about him?
I'm the king of the world.
I think you'd be the queen, but all right. So he's going to take you out tonight, and you guys are going to go, I don't know what you're going to do, but what would your most ideal date be? What would you most want to do?
Dude, where's my car?
Go for a drive in the car, okay. So, Sam, I don't know what you guys are going to do. Why don't you tell me, what is the plan tonight? What are you guys going to go do?
Get her done.
So that brings up another very important point, I guess. Sam, I'm very protective of my daughter here. So would you ever put the moves on a girl on the first date?
I see dead people.
Not entirely sure what that means, so Talana, if you were to try and kiss you tonight, what would be your response?
It's Bond. James Bond.
All right, I'm going to take both you guys' pictures, so Talana, would you come over here and stand next to Sam for me? And whenever I have my picture taken, I always say cheese. Talana, what do you say when you have your picture taken?
Cheese. Your voice is a combination of Fergie and Jesus.
How about you, Sam? What do you say?
Go ahead, make my day.
All right, why don't you guys both look at the camera here and say, go ahead, make my day, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Go ahead, make my day.
That was a good one. All right, anything else before you go?
I'll be back.
How about you?
Just sleep swimming.
Give these guys a round of applause and thank you for coming out. And in order to thank them for coming up, I'm going to give them each a free copy of my book. It's called Climb On, Success Strategies for Teens. And if you guys like, I'll sign it for you over there, okay? After I'm done. Give them another round of applause. Now that was just a goofy little game to get things started, but you could kind of see that when they were up here, they were a little bit frustrated because they had that movie quote telling them what to do, what to say, how to act every minute that they were up here. What if your whole life was like that? and it was a script, and you had somebody telling you what to do, what to say, how to act every second of your life, you'd be pretty frustrated, wouldn't you? So it's my job here today to show you how to make your own life into your own script, your own adventure that you live and you absolutely love. But you know what else I like about the movies? I like that guy from the previews with that super deep voice he's got. You know that guy from the previews, like, from the people that brought you Titanic. You know that guy? Like, no matter what he's talking about, he's always going to use the deep voice, like, Barney meets the Teletubbies. Could you see this guy, like, going through puberty? His voice cracking and everything. He's going up to girls like, hey, baby, how you doing? Excuse me. It's just that I think you're real cute. Oh. I was hoping one day we could go out on a date. Because that would make me happy. And then after his voice cracks, he's doomed for the movie business, you know? He couldn't do anything else. He couldn't be a farmer. The cows think that he's one of them, like, move, Betsy, move. Cow's like, what the heck's going on? Couldn't be a taxi cab driver, but that just freak you out. You get in the taxi with him, he's like, hey, where am I taking you today? That creepy man, I'm getting the next cab. What if he was a teacher at your school? Comes up to you and he's like, nice job, Bobby. Have some candy. You'd be like, I'm gonna transfer, this is awkward. You see, we go to the movies because we see these people on screen that have action, adventure, romance, comedy in their lives. And these are the exact same things that we want for ourselves. It's like it's written into our soul that each moment is supposed to have an amazing new adventure, and each second is supposed to have an incredible new surprise. That's why I go rock climbing, because for me, that's my life adventure. For you, it doesn't make a huge difference to me if you ever go climbing or not. What I really care about is that you find your own adventure for your own life, and you make your life anything but ordinary. So I created what I like to call the Climb On Success Formula, and it's something that's easy that anybody can put to use. Because I believe that life is very difficult. If you agree with that, say yes. And I believe that life can be very complicated. If you agree with that, say yeah. And I believe that life can be very confusing. If you agree with that, say heck yeah. So if life is difficult and confusing and complicated, then what we need is a solution that's easy that anybody can put to use. If that makes sense to you, say climb on. I'm going to give you guys the Climb On Success Formula, but before I can, you know, anywhere I go, all over the country and give this kind of speech, it always happens, the ladies always want to make some noise. So now is your chance, your opportunity. Go ahead, ladies, make some noise. Where are you at? Ladies, would you like a secret about men, about guys? Here it is, guys, raise your hand. How many guys here play video games like Halo, any like Tony Hawk's, like World of Warcraft, guys? Here's the secret about us men. When we've got that controller, the paddle, we're not just watching the Master Chief blow up the Covenant armies, oh no. For us, it's so much bigger than the graphics or the sound, because when we've got that controller, we are the Master Chief. That's us living out the adventure that we see on the screen. Wouldn't that be cool though? If you were in a video game, like if you were Mario and you could just jump on somebody and they disappear, that'd be the best. Your teacher comes in, she's like, class, you got a test coming up this Thursday. You'd be like, oh yeah? Test that, haha! Where'd you go? Your mom comes in, she's like, honey, it's time to clean up your clothes, don't you think? Don't make me jump on you, woman. I'll do it. You see, us guys play video games because that's us living out our life's adventure on the screen. Guys, gentlemen, would you like a secret about women? She's like, don't tell. Here it is. Gentlemen, if you'd like to impress a woman, remember this name. Remember this name. Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy. Why? Because two countries, the most powerful countries in the world at the time, went to battle for her. No, I'm not saying go take over Canada. I'm not saying go get in a fight. I'm saying give her that level of respect and determination, the idea that you'll do anything for her, and then you'll be okay with the ladies. And girls, if he doesn't make you feel that important, you drop him like a 2-week-old dirty diaper, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I won't do that again. I just saw how I looked on the screen there. Sorry about that, dude. You see, it's written into the souls of men and women both that life is supposed to be an adventure. So I've created the Climb On Success Formula. I'm going to teach it to you guys right now. The first part of it, I just want you to whisper. It's this. Pick a summit. Whisper it with me on 3. Pick a summit. 1, 2, 3. Pick a summit. So the first thing that I do when I go out rock climbing is I see the mountain range in front of me. I pick one peak, one summit to get to the top of, and I make that my goal for the day. It sounds basic, but it's profound because so few people in the world have any idea where they're going, how they're going to get there, or what their plan is to make it happen. To show you guys this, I want everybody to take both of your palms, both your hands, hold up both of your palms so I can see them. Hold them up real high. Perfect. Now, did you guys know that one of your hands is longer than the other one? It's true. Watch this. Underneath each one of your palms, you have a line that goes straight across your hand. Everybody nod your head yes if you see that line. Good. Now take both those lines, line them up perfectly so they make a fan shape just like this. And everybody hold up that fan shape real high so I can see it. Perfect. Good. Now take those two hands, roll them together, stretch them out, and you're going to see that one of your hands is just barely longer than the other one. Kind of weird. Now do this. Everybody, show me the shorter of your two hands. We're going to give this hand a goal. We're going to make this hand grow. Everybody do this. Look at your hand square in the eye. Look at your hand. Say this at your hand. Hand. Say it like you mean it. Hand. Get bigger. You are now huge. You are gigantic. You are bigger than my other hand. I can feel you enormous. You gargantuan hand, you. Now do this. Everybody line those two lines up again. Roll those hands together and look at how that hand grew. Isn't that weird? Now, this does not work for any other body parts. I'm just gonna... Oh, you guys are sick. I'm talking about like feet or arms. Everybody please clap once. Clap twice. What you just did was give your hand a very simple goal. You said, I'm going to make my hand get bigger. But it works for so much more than just silly little tricks like that. The first time that I learned the power of picking a summit was my very first day of college. My professor walks in. He's got his briefcase. Kind of a timid guy. Sets it down. He says, class, your assignment for the next week is to write out 100 goals for your life. It's like, what, 100 goals? He says, if you do not do this assignment, you will flunk my class. Guess I have to do it. So I was just a little punk kid, and I pull out the notepad and pen, and I was just like, number 1, finish this assignment. Number 2, get to number 3. But the more I started goofing off with it, the more I realized I couldn't fudge the whole assignment. So I started putting down real goals for myself and for my life. I wrote down goals like graduate from college with honors, write a book by the time I turned 20, visit every continent on the planet, in fact, climb to the tallest mountain, the tallest peak of every continent on the planet, become fluent in Spanish and in Mandarin Chinese, snowboard through a flock of penguins in Antarctica. I wrote down goals like ride elephants in Thailand, wrestle a giant carp in Cambodia, give away $1 million to charity over the course of my lifetime. I wrote down the people I wanted to meet, the places I wanted to go, the things that I wanted to do. To date, I've finished 40 of them, and I can guarantee you that by the day I die, I'll have all 100 of them crossed off the list. Thank you. And you know, that feels really cool if you guys applaud for that. What's even cooler and truly deserves deserves the applause is if you do the same thing for yourself. If you write down your own list of 25, 50, 100 goals, summits for your life, and you make your entire objective in your life about achieving those things, that's how to become anything but ordinary. Would you guys do that? Say, oh yeah! Oh yeah! And when you do this, can we get some house lights on, by the way, back there, guys? When you do this, does anybody here know how to make a flea circus? What? A flea circus, here's how you do it. A little flea, a little bug that's no bigger than a button on your cell phone can jump off the ground 25 to 30 feet straight up into the air. So that's like a little bug jumping off the floor here, jumping up and hitting the ceiling. So to make a flea circus, you take a whole bunch of these bugs, put them in a jar. Take a piece of cardboard and cover the jar. Well, now these dumb, idiot, moron fleas are like at the bottom of this jar, and they jump up with that 20 or 30 foot force jump, slam their heads into the ceiling, and they fall back down. So they do it again. Bottom of the jar, leap up, slam their heads in the cardboard, and they fall back down. They keep doing this over and over and over again until sooner or later the flea starts to associate or connect pain with jumping high. So you take these fleas, dump them out of a jar. For the rest of their lives, those fleas will only jump however high that piece of cardboard was set. And before you look at the flea and you're like, stupid flea. Think about how it applies to you and I. Because do you remember when you were a kid and anything was possible? It's like one day you're going to be a firefighter, the next day you're going to be this incredible football star, the day after that you're going to have this amazing family, then you're going to be a NASA space astronaut and you're going to fly to the moon. You remember how fun that time was? I don't know about you, but I don't think that we dream like that anymore. Because somewhere along the course of our lives, somebody told us, no, you're not good enough, you're not from the right race or background or religion, your family doesn't have enough money, whatever the case may be. And we stopped dreaming like we did when we were kids. My challenge to you is when you come up with these 25, these 50, 100 goals for your life, pretend like nobody has ever told you no. That's the first part of the Climb On Success formula. Pick a summit. The second part, I want you guys to yell out as loud as you possibly can. It's this. Gear up. Say it so that cars driving down the street are like, whoa, what the heck was that? Okay? It's gear up on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Nice, sweet energy. So the next thing that I do, after I pick the mountain I'm going up, I make a plan in order to get up that actual climb. And it's the form of my harness. So I take different pieces of equipment and put them on my harness. In order to show you guys what I mean by this, I need everybody to stand up right where you're at. Once you've stood up, everybody take both hands, put both hands above you. Stretch out, go up on your tippy toes and say, ooh, that feels good. Go down off your tippy toes. Take your left hand, put your left hand down. Take your right hand, point your right hand straight forward just like this. Now do not do it yet. Wait till I say go. What you're going to do with that right hand is spin around, keep your feet totally planted, spin around in a circle to your right. Miss your neighbor's head. Continue to spin around. And get a visual spot on the wall of what the furthest point around is you can possibly spin to. Okay, so you're just going to get that visual spot. Here we go, everybody point that hand straight forward. Spin to the right, miss your neighbor's head. Get that visual spot of the furthest around point you can possibly spin to. Now do this, everybody come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. Take that right hand, point your right hand down towards the floor. Everybody please close your eyes. Now do not do it, do not physically do it. But imagine yourself spinning around in that circle. Only this time, you feel all loose, you're limber, you're stretched out. You smack your neighbor in the jaw, no just kidding. Miss your neighbor's head, and you continue spinning around. Only this time, because of how loose and limber you feel, you get to that same spot. You go 6 inches past it, a foot past that spot, 1.5 feet right past that spot because of how loose and limber and stretched out you feel. Everybody see that spot? Say yes. Yes. Everybody open your eyes. Lift that right arm up just like you did before. Spin around in that circle and look at how much further you can go this time because you made that plan. Isn't that weird? Once you've done that, give yourselves a round of applause and take a seat. Now making a plan is simple. All you have to do is figure out where you are right now and figure out where you want to end up and then fill in the pieces. And once those pieces are filled in, you've got your plan laid out right in front of you. Now think about this. If you know where you're going, you know what your plan is to get there, What's left? Yeah, go do it. Take action on your dreams. That's where the real juice of life is when you take action. And I was once struck by lightning on a mountain called Mount Columbia in Colorado. Would you guys like to hear that story? Say, oh yeah. Here's how it went. We're going to take this whole audience right now and we're going to transform it. So no longer are you guys going to be in an audience in this, the convention center here. We're going to be on top of a mountain called Mount Columbia in Colorado. And it's a 14,000 plus foot peak. So all you guys in the front there, you guys are going to be the base of the mountain. Everybody in the back, how you guys doing in the back? Cool. You guys are going to be at the top of a mountain. I'm in the student line, and his name is Jason. And Jason has a case of what's called altitude 6. And in case you don't know, altitude 6 is where your brain doesn't get enough oxygen. So it starts to swell up. Well, the problem when your brain swells up is that you have a skull in the way. It starts to go so funky into your brain. Well, Jason has a mild case of it, and all he's doing is just walking back and forth in the moment. He's like, that's it. Jason, you gotta walk. He's like, that's all. Lightning strikes. I start counting the seconds to see how far away the lightning is. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. It's about half a mile away. To give you an idea of what altitude 6 does, my friend Tyson had a case of it, and he hallucinated. He saw a school bus full of monsters driving vertically up. And it messes with your head. Say there's a cliff right here. There's been famous climbers that say they're climbing buddies. Hey guys, look, there's a rainbow bridge that takes us all the way down to the ground. And they just walk off the cliff. Lightning strikes again. 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Even bigger. It's coming in fast. I'm like, Jason, you gotta walk. He's like, you please move, go, do whatever you have to. Lightning strikes again. 1 1,000. The biggest one yet. It's coming in fast. So I do what any good instructor would do, and I kick Jason. And now Jason's like, I'm like, sweet, at least he's going. I get Jason 100, 200 feet in front of me. I'm running after him. I'm like, go, Jason, go, dude, you gotta move. And Jason's like, I'm like, sweet, at least he's going. Then the only way I can describe it is these purple bubbles started popping everywhere, huge, like Rice Krispies on heroin, going nuts all over the place. I'm in the middle of a step on my right foot. Lightning goes into the ground about 20 feet away from me, through the ground, into my rubber boot, into my leg, instantly sears all the hair right off my leg, knocks me off onto my other foot. Well, I'm still just thinking about getting to Jason, so now I'm like, go, Jason, go, dude! You gotta move, man, hurry, move! I catch up to Jason, I'm like, Jason, you all ready to get hit by lightning? And he's like, I go, okay, tell me what happened. He's like, well, you were like, and I was like, He goes, and then all of a sudden, the hair on my arm sort of stood up. I'm like, that's it? Your hair stood up? See, all he got was a static electricity charge. Just like if you took a balloon, rubbed it on your head. Me, I got my whole leg fried. Because I didn't stick to one thing. And that's a time requirement. It wasn't just Jason and I. There was about 12 other people trying to get to the top of a mountain. And I told the whole group, I don't care where you are, but if at noon you're not on top of the mountain, we're turning around and we're going back. Well, noon comes and it's only Jason and I on top of the mountain. I look up, it's blue skies. No problem. Let's wait for the rest of the group to get up. Because we did that, we spent another hour, hour and a half up at high altitude, which is where Jason got the altitude sickness. It was completely my fault. So I started asking myself, how can I be sure that something like that never happens again? And I came up with this formula that I'm going to pass on to you right now. It's this. Drive plus skills plus time equals success. If you want something bad enough, you give yourself the right skill set to make sure that you get it, and then you give yourself a deadline, a time requirement of when you will reach that goal, you'll get it. Now we need to shift gears right now because there's some people in the audience that need to be thanked. And there's 3 groups of people. Let me tell you who they are first, then we're going to give them the craziest, wildest standing ovation you've ever given in your life. The first group of people is all the state officers and Ryan Hamilton. The second group of people is the whole TRI leadership team for putting this whole event on together. And the third person is the adult or the advisor that brought you here. So give them the craziest, wildest standing ovation you've ever given in your life. Go, 1, 2, 3, yeah! Nice, that's awesome, good. energy. Now, I need to also ask you guys a question. How many of you guys, raise your hands, feel like you gained something good out of this little session right here, or you're reminded of something you needed to hear? If that's true, put up your hands. Awesome, that's everybody here. Give yourselves a round of applause then for being a good audience. That's cool. Before I tell my last story, I read this book I wrote. It's called Climb On: Success Strategies for Teens, and it's a guide of how you can be successful in your life as a teenager, and it's written about a girl who learns to rock climb in Las Vegas. Would anybody like a free copy of this book? Whoever can show me they're most excited to get this free copy will get this free copy. Now look, my whole talk was about getting up and taking action. That's exactly what these two guys did. Give them a round of applause. Would anybody else like a free copy? Now chuck this one. Careful over there, guys. Would anybody else like a copy? That's awesome. If you like, I'll be selling them over there for $10 a piece. No, listen. If you like a book, they retail for $14.95. I will sell them over there for $10 a piece. Is that a deal or is that a deal? I didn't quite get enough of that's a deal, so here's what I'm going to do. If you guys team up with 2 other people, or if you're an advisor and you want to get some for your students, I'll give you guys 3 of them for $20. That's like just under $7 for each book. Is that a deal or is that a deal? That is a deal. Then listen, I'll be right over there and I'll be happy to take pictures or sign anything you guys want me to sign as well. Last story, guys, and we're done. I didn't finish that story from the very beginning when I'm hanging there, convinced I'm about to die. Now, there's a move in the climbing world called a dyno. And in case you don't know, a dyno is when you literally throw yourself up off the cliff, fly through the air, and using whatever you can, you grab on. It's extremely dangerous, but it's a good way to get an extra 2 or 3 feet. And I knew that's what I needed to do. So I started counting down. 3, life or death decision for 2 people. 2, hope this works out. 1. And with every bit of force and effort I could muster up, I launched myself up off the cliff. I'm flying through the air like in slow motion. Take my hand, stick it on the rock like the jaws of a Burmese tiger. Take a clip off my harness, send it through the bolt, take my rope right through the clip. And I was safe. I made it. Anything but ordinary. And you guys can do the same thing. If you pick a summit, gear up, and climb on. Thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.